Yo, what's up, gang? This is Cash. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So, a lot of people have been telling me to make a channel for a while, so I figured I would and just talk kind of about being non-binary and some of the experiences I've had, and maybe help some of you guys out who are questioning yourselves or just trying to figure out how to navigate the world as a non-binary person, or people who want to know what being non-binary is, even if they're not. I was born female, and I am not a fan of basically anything that comes with that, whether it be socially or biologically or what have you. I am more on the masculine side, but I definitely don't feel comfortable being labeled as a man. My whole life I've felt kind of weird. Not in like a social way, like, oh, that kid's weird or anything, but more like internally. As a child, I would refuse to wear anything that I thought was uncomfortable, whether it was like following the dress code at my school or wearing anything tight. I hated my hair, so I just wouldn't brush it, and my mom got tired of fighting with me, which like I would have too. So she took me and just kind of cut it like pretty short. And then once that happened, everything kind of clicked, and I was like, oh my god, like I'm a boy, this is it, this is sick. Everyone else was like, okay. But my mom let me buy boys' clothes, and like I look like a little boy because I hadn't gone through puberty yet. And people who knew me, and if they like called me a girl, like, no, I'm a boy, like meh. And then once I went to middle school, I kind of like snapped out of it because we had to change for PE in the locker room, and like everyone had started wearing bras basically because you don't want to be like titties out even if you like don't have anything in the locker room, right? And my mom was like, okay, like let's go buy a bra, and I was like, I'm sorry, what? I'm gonna have titties? Like I had already started like puberty, so it was happening, but I was like in denial. I hated wearing a bra. I always hated it. Like of course it's like not a comfortable thing that like women love to do, but it was like this shouldn't be happening to me specifically. People weren't super nice to me at my school, so I kind of was just like, let me just be like normal and not get bullied. So all through high school, I wasn't like overly girly, but I wasn't like super masculine either. I was really big into sports. I played basketball, and I think everyone just assumed I was kind of like a sporty lesbian because I like never really dated anyone or anything. I remember being like,
I'm not a lesbian. Like, I don't know why everyone thinks that.
and then I went to college and I was like,
Maybe I'm a lesbian.
um, and I started dating girls, and I was like, yeah, okay, like this is cool. But I remember like as soon as I started, like I got my first relationship like 2 months after I went to college, and I like became super girly and just didn't want anyone to think I was like a butch lesbian for like whatever reason. Like
Oh, well, look at me now.
I lost a ton of weight, and I was just like femme and like unhappy, but I didn't really think about it too much, I guess. And then towards my senior year of college, I would like literally have a meltdown every time I would have to wear like a dress for a presentation or something, because senior year you have a lot more like, I guess, things to dress up for, and I didn't have any masculine clothing that were dressy, and I couldn't wear my normal like sporty attire that I had gotten used to over the past year or so. And I just remember being like, why am I so upset? Like, what is the issue? I just like literally want to melt into a puddle every time I need to like look feminine. And it just kind of got worse and worse. And then when I started grad school, I was like crying all the time and like just super unhappy. And I remember I called my girlfriend at the time, and I was just like having a meltdown. She was like, okay, I think you're trans. And I was like, and she was like, okay, how do you feel when people call you she? And I was like, I hate it. And she was like, okay, well, what do you feel about he? And I was like, I mean, it feels better, but that doesn't feel right. And she's like, okay, how about they? And I was like, I could mess with that. So I kind of tried it for a while. She called me they. And I was like, yeah, okay, this is kind of cool. And so I went on a YouTube spiral and just kind of like learned more about like what being transgender was. And I watched a lot of like trans guy YouTubers because I didn't have a ton of non-binary, people to watch like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. But I kind of heard about what being non-binary was. I was like, yes, I found it. This is me. So I socially transitioned. I told, like my closer friends. Eventually I told my, professors and my classmates and stuff like that, like, please use they pronouns when you talk to me, talk about me. I changed my name to Kash about 1.5 years after I initially came out. Kash is short for Kashir, which means like humorous person in Arabic. I'm Lebanese, so I wanted a name that was like more attached to my Middle Eastern roots, so I settled on Kash. And when people really started, like everyone started calling me Kash and they and stuff, I was like, okay, yes, finally I don't feel like I'm having an out-of-body experience at all times when people are talking to me, I had top surgery about 2 months ago. I waited a really long time because I didn't want to rush into anything. I wanted to make sure I had the right insurance, just like find the right surgeon. It took forever. But I'm really glad I had kind of everything in order before I did it. I feel really good about it. I'm so happy now. Unfortunately, we do not live in a gender neutral world at all. So people who see you are either going to think you're a man or a woman. And for me, since I'm neither, I kind of like internally, I was like, okay, well, pick one. What would you rather people code you as when you're in public? And for me, like having people think I'm a woman is like literally like makes me want to vomit. So I'm like, okay, I'd rather be seen as masculine because that's how I feel, even though I'm not a man. I think it would be okay if a stranger in a store was like, hey, he wants to know about this, instead of like, hey, she wants to know about this. So I try to present more masculine. And I think probably if society used like they pronouns more often, I would still be masculine, like that's not a question. But I don't know if I would feel the need to like really, really like pass as a man in public. But that's a whole other thing. I hope you guys can either learn about being non-binary from me or just kind of get some comfort knowing that someone else is going through this. And I just hope that this channel will be helpful to even one person. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, the whole shebang. It costs $0 to help my channel. My Instagrams are below, and I'm gonna be making videos about a ton of things, about being non-binary. I'll show you guys some DIY projects, so stay tuned. All that's coming up. I'm gonna try to put out a video a week and go from there. All right, see you guys on the next one. Peace.